Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Maaike and today we are doing a book haul again. This will be my last book haul for 2020, I'm sure, because today's book haul mainly features some newer releases. I placed myself an order on the book depository, but I also went shopping at my local bookstore the other day and I thought I could do a nice little roundup of all the things that I got, because there were definitely a lot of books that came out in the past couple months and I was like, oh, I want to put those on my bookshelves and then end the year, hopefully, with a bookshelf tour over the holiday period. That's sort of the idea. So yeah, there were definitely a couple of things that I still wanted to put on my shelves. The reading is going okay at the moment. I'm still not like breezing through books like I did in the first half of the year, but I feel like I read quite a bit at the time, so I'm feeling okay, and you know, there's no pressure. I just need to enjoy what I read. And with that in mind, sort of like me having gone through this really bad reading slump, when I spotted these little Penguin classics, like these mini editions at my local bookstore, I was like, you know what, that's a great way to get some reading in, but to, you know, not have to commit to like 300, 400, 500 pages immediately. So I thought that these could be nice for me to just get stuck into if I get a little bit into a slump. And actually one of these, which is the black one, is by Emily Dickinson, and it's a selection of her poetry. And I think I do have some Emily Dickinson poetry in like an anthology somewhere, but I remember having a book with Dutch translations of her works, and I really enjoyed them, so I thought that I could give this a whirl. And poetry is usually a very quick and easy read, but it's also something you can dip in and out of, so I thought this could be a nice one. And then they also did these modern classics, and those I was a lot more intrigued by than like the classics. And these are also more affordable than the other ones. So those are $2.95 and these are $1.50, which is great. So I got myself some essays by James Baldwin, Dark Days. I got a short story collection by Daphne de Maurier, The Breakthrough. I think, is it one story or is it more? Some of these is just one thing, others are, oh, this is just one story. And then Carson McCullers, I read The Ballad of the Sad Cafe and really liked it. So this is The Haunted Boy, and this has 3 stories in. And then I'm not sure anymore how to pronounce his first name, but the last name is Borges, and it's like magical realism kind of idea from like, he's a South American author. And I really enjoyed what I read by him during a course at university, so I was like, that could be an author I'd like to read more from, but I wouldn't want to commit to a full book straight away. So this way I can dip in and out of, well, 2 authors that I know I love, and one that I want to get more out of, and James Baldwin I haven't read anything by yet, so time to remedy that for sure. So let's start with things that aren't necessarily super new. Some of these are just new to me, but I have a lot of books here that were released in the last couple of months, so I'll keep those till the end. But I bought Ellie Smith's Winter, and this is apparently like a series without it really being a series. Like, you can read them independently, but there's a book now for every season. So there's autumn, winter, spring, and summer was released, I think, late 2019 or this year. There's no like paperback version that's a bit smaller like this, but I read the blurb on the back and I thought that I would want to try this. It's about 4 people, strangers and family, that move into this 15-bedroom house in Cornwall over the Christmas break. Will there be room enough for everyone? Sounds like something that I like. So yeah, and this, I just really like these covers, and this was shortlisted for the Orwell Prize in 2018. Apparently this is super acclaimed, and if this is any good, I'm pretty sure I would want to read the other 3 books here as well. But yeah, Ellie Smith I also haven't read anything by, and it's a little more like a literary fiction kind of thing, and I'm really sort of liking literary fiction at the moment. And I just showed you James Baldwin. Well, guess what? I got some more James Baldwin. I was just browsing some of the things that were on the shelf, and I was like, this sounds like something I might like. It's If Beale Street Could Talk, which seems to be one of those stories where I'm like super intrigued with getting a glimpse of what it means to be living in a country when your skin tone is just different from everybody else. So that's what this definitely does, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a harrowing tale. An intense one, but it's also very short. So some classic literature to put on my shelf for sure. So I can't find exactly when this was released, but this book is called Little by Edward Carey. And this is a historical fiction novel that is set in France, and it's about a girl who is orphaned, and she ends up with an anatomist who specializes in creating waxworks. And then she somehow travels around, but this book, you see all these little drawings on the front, because the person who wrote this, Edward Carey, is also a graphic artist, with visual artist. So he's made all these drawings. So there's all these little drawings peppered throughout the book, and I kind of like saw this lying on a table and it just intrigued me. I like historical fiction. I like it if it's a little mysterious, but this also seems to sort of be about like the courts and like political intrigue and all that. So I thought that this could be nice and a little weird, perhaps a little strange, and just a different way of telling a story. And I always like trying those things. So that's why I thought this could be one that I would enjoy. Let's talk about some more classic literature. Let's just get that out of the way, because then we've had that. I bought myself The Mysteries of Udolpho by Anne Radcliffe. I wasn't aware this was so big. This is the Oxford Classic Edition, which was just the cheapest one I could find, because that's the way I live my life when it comes to classics nowadays. And this is one of the sort of gothic fiction novels that sort of got the genre started. That's how I understand it. So that's why I've always wanted to read this ever since I heard of it, and I just never got around to buying it. And I was like, well, I just have to own this and get around to it someday. It is a little big. And since this is like, I believe, late 18th century, yep, 1794, so late 18th century English, this could be a bit of a challenge, but who knows? I sometimes find myself reading classics and I'm like, oh, I'm fine, whereas other ones are so dense. So I'm curious to see how this will go. Moving on into a book where it's a bit of a gamble, this one, because I bought York Book 2, The Clockwork Ghost by Lauren Ruby. And this is a YA series, and this is the second book in that series. I own the first one. There's now 2 books out as far as I know, and it seems to be a little steampunky. The premise of this sounds super intriguing, and that's why I'm saying it's a gamble, because I haven't read the first one yet, but the blurb on the back of this one was super enticing, so I was like, I want to try it. This is set in a New York where all the buildings together create a cipher that you can decipher. Yeah, just like a mystery in the buildings. Like there's a riddle that's told through the buildings, it's been put in the architecture, and that premise to me sounds so good. And I've never heard anybody talking about this, because I've only been able to find this at my local bookstore. And then I saw they had the second one, and I was like, right, I want to read that. So maybe this is a series I need to get to soon. And then I just found out the other day, as I was at the bookstore buying books, that this is also part of a series. This is A.J. Hackwitt's The Library of the Unwritten, and the second book in this series came out just recently, because I saw the paperback lying on a table. I didn't know much about this, but I heard someone on BookTube talking about it. This is sort of like a special part of hell, I believe. Every book left unfinished is filed away in the unwritten wing, a neutral space in hell. I didn't need to hear anything else about this book other than that it's about a library in hell. Like, that's all I needed to know. That is all I know about it. And look at that stunning cover. I really like it. And then a book that I heard quite a few people saying they enjoyed it on BookTube is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I believe that this is a like YA fantasy kind of story that's set in like Mexico, Aztec-y kind of vibe, mythology. That's what I heard, and that's why I wanted to read it. I think it's part of a series. I know nothing about it, but I was just really, really taken with how stunning this cover is. Like, how stunning is this cover? And then a book that I kind of knew I wanted to read this the minute it came out, but I wanted to wait until it came out as a paperback. and that's The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. And Renee Ahdieh is an author I've never read anything by. And the reason why I've never read anything by her is because everybody sort of talks about how romance heavy her books are. And I'm not a lover of romance. I was like, I'm not entirely sure. But this is set in 19th century New Orleans and it features vampires. Again, that's all I needed to know. 19th century New Orleans, vampires, you got me. Again, I have no clue what this is about other than that. So this book came up in my recommendations for sure. This is The House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. It's about some sisters who live with their family by the sea and they are cursed. Things go wrong every single time. They all die at some point, and then one of the sisters is like, but wait, this is weird. Why do they keep dying? I don't think these are accidents. And then a mysterious stranger comes along. So this is a book that I think I saw it being promoted as like gothic horror kind of stuff, but YA. And I was quite intrigued. I like something dark, and I just think that this cover is just everything. Righto, and then everything else that I have here are very hot off the press releases. I'm not someone who tends to buy books the minute they come out anyways. Like, I wait around for paperbacks and all that. But some of these I was like, I need them right now. And this is one, the first one I definitely ummed and ahed about because I did buy this. Midnight Sun. That pomegranate just looks a bit gross. Anyways, Stephanie Meyer, part of the Twilight saga, as in the story of Twilight from Edward's perspective. Apparently Edward has a lot more to say than Bella, so I'm a bit nervous about this because, as in good YA fashion, the longer the book doesn't necessarily mean it's any better. But yeah, Twilight from Edward's perspective, I'm there for it. I think Edward is he's a douchebag. Like, that's the only way to describe him. So I definitely think like being stuck in his head would be fun for like an afternoon or two. And if this is like a super easy read, then this I think will happen before the year is out. I think this may be actually my next read. And then I bought Matt Haig's The Midnight Library. I love books that are about books, you could say. So about libraries. I don't remember what this is about exactly. Oh yeah, this girl woman goes to a library that's between life and death. And this one, I saw, who did I see mention? I think Emily from Books with Emily Fox. I saw her mentioning this. I think she didn't love it that much, but it's quite a short read, I think. And I just really thought that the premise of this sounded like something I might like, a little bit more like magical realism-ish. That's how it comes across to me. Again, I have no other clue of what this is about other than a library that's in between where you kind of go to like purgatory, but not kind of. And then she tries to make amends and tries to do her life over, I believe. Like if she could have taken different routes. I believe that's what this book is about. So it sounds really intriguing. And then at my local bookstore, I spotted this. I didn't know this was out. Troy by Stephen Fry. So apparently Stephen Fry is now just like, has made it his goal to rewrite all of the Greek mythology stories. And I'm here for it because A, I love Stephen Fry, and 2, I read Mythos and Heroes and loved both of them. So now he's tackling the Trojan War, which, you know, I'm happy. I'm hoping this is out as an audiobook because I listened to Heroes on audio and I loved it because Stephen Fry himself read it. I mean, if it says Stephen Fry, if it's about Greek mythology, I'm going to snatch it up because I'm here for it. I'm here for it. A series that I also, again, this is another book that I want to hopefully complete before the end of the year, but it's another big one, and it's Troubled Blood by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. There's a lot has been said about this book, especially in the light of some of the remarks she made. What I now know is that the person who labeled the killer as transgender is a reviewer. Rowling never said it herself, and it's apparently a man who dresses in women's clothing. So apparently, I'm not sure, I haven't read it, but apparently this sort of started leading its own life online, before the book was even out. So before anyone had ever actually read it. Then again, this book has been selling out, so not everybody is up to speed with the controversy surrounding this one. But this is the next book in the Cormoran Strike series that she has been writing under a different name. I read all of those books before. I love them. I love Cormoran Strike as a character. He's gritty. He's a bit of a sad person sometimes, but I hope we see more of Robin in this book for sure, because Robin is his assistant and she's just a kick-ass female character and I love her. So I hope this is good. Friends of mine have already read it and they absolutely adored it. But like Midnight Sun, I believe this is like a hefty almost 1,000 pages, isn't it? 927. Like, I still need to finish Rebecca, but I already know which 2 books are gonna come next, so maybe one in November and one in December, or maybe I'll just love them so much and I get stuck in them and I'm back on the reading train and I read them in 2 days. Who knows? Then another book that I really was intrigued by when I heard about it from Reagan from the Peruse Project, The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. She read this in one of her reading vlogs and I was like, yep, I'm here for it. I've never read any N.K. Jemisin. Her, what's it called? What's the first book called again? The trilogy that she has, the fantasy series that like has been breaking records. I still really want to read it. So there's a couple of series I know that I'm going to put on my 2021 reading list. And that's going to be one of them. But this is, I believe, a standalone. And it's a bit like sci-fi-y, where the different boroughs of New York are personified. So Brooklyn is a character. And I thought that was cool. And that's all, again, I needed to know. I love New York. And I love it when people play around with those kind of things. So this sounds like something that I will really enjoy. And then the minute I saw that this came out, I knew I wanted to own it. V.E. Schwab's The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue. I believe that, I'm not even sure what this is, like I just kind of like bought it because it's V.E. Schwab. And because I love A Darker Shade of Magic and Vicious. That's why I bought this. That's, oh, it's set in 18th century France. Huh. I think I like that. She makes a bargain for life to live forever but be remembered by none. And then of course after a while that becomes very tedious and she wants to be remembered. So I think this sounds like something I might like. Again, V.E. Schwab, one of my favorites. I hope this can do for me what Leigh Bardugo wasn't able to do for me in Ninth House. Let's just keep it short and sweet. Because I loved The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle so much by Stuart Turton, I decided to go on and buy the new one straight away. So this is The Devil in the Dark Water. I know nothing about this. Again, like most of these books, like I bought this because I bought and read the first one, loved it, and I thought I want more from this author. So that's why I got this lovely hardback edition and no clue what it's about. But if it's as good as the other one, I know I'm gonna love it. So there you have it. Those are all of the books that I bought in the past couple of weeks that I wanted to update you on. And I'm just going to be living my life, trying to read as many books as I can in the months of November and December. And then hopefully by Christmas time, I can do a bookshelf tour. That's the idea. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make one new video a week over on this channel. So to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.